Native Americans in Arizona are reclaiming their share of precious water.
Alcatraz, the mystery of Alcatraz, it seems like the island is calling people to it.
There's no escaping the fact that the National Park at Alcatraz needs some tender, loving care. We'll show you how veterans and college students are restoring this notorious prison.
Yeah, that's a nice snapper right there.
What a catch, and what a success story. Once on the brink, red snapper populations are back.
It's the perfect fishing experience.
Time to cast off for another episode of This American Land.
Hi, and welcome to This American Land. I'm your host, Ed Arnett. We've got some exciting news stories for you today about the conservation of America's natural resources, our landscapes, waters, wildlife, and the people that are dedicated to conservation across the country. We'll start today in Arizona on the Gila River Indian Reservation, where Native Americans have acquired new rights to water from the Colorado River and are building a huge irrigation system to support a major expansion of agricultural development on the reservation. The tribes there had a long history of irrigated farming for centuries, a legacy they're now reclaiming.
Today we're the Gila River Indian Community, and traditionally we're recognized as the Akimar O'atam, Akimar for river, O'atam is people. I'm Barnaby Lewis, Tribal Historic Preservation Officer for Gila River Indian Community. For centuries, the people, they've always relied on the water for various purposes, not just agriculture. Drinking and bathing, and we live by the river and utilize the waters of the river.
The irrigation systems that came off of the Gila River that our ancestors dug by hand provide water for our gardens and farms that we had. My name is Henrietta Lopez, and I work for the Pima Maricopa Irrigation Project. When the settlers started coming into this area, they started using the same waters that we were using, and they didn't think about what the effects were going to be downstream. And our community members began starving because they couldn't grow the crops.
With the famine that occurred, many people passed away. It's estimated that over 2 million mesquite trees were cut down and sold off reservation for firewood. But that was something that was really sad to happen.
They couldn't plant without the water. And so most families did without. They had to go out and try and survive some way. So many things were lost when our water went away.
Essentially, what you're seeing here is the return of our water, what we call in our O'atam language, our shudug. This is really something very powerful. You can smell this water, you can see it. When you close your eyes, you can hear it. My name is Stephen Rowe Lewis, and I'm the governor of the Gila River Indian Community. This is a long time coming. We fought for many years to get this water back through our water settlement. This is my father, Rod Lewis, and he dedicated his whole life to fighting for our water and finally realizing the Arizona Water Settlement Act. So he was the first Native American to argue a Supreme Court case and also to win.
We had a series of cases filed here in Arizona, and as the court cases advanced, the powers that be in Arizona realized that we were going to prevail. And so that began the process which led to the settlement in 2004. proud of the accomplishments. I'm proud of the fact that, we are continuing to develop our water in very creative and unique ways. So we'll be able to get waters to all parts of the reservation that have requested the use of that water.
The PMIP project is currently the largest irrigation agricultural development project anywhere in the United States. From one end of the community to the other, what we call our main stem or backbone system is approximately 80 miles in length. I'm David DeYoung. I'm the project director of the Pima Maricopa Irrigation Project on the Gila River Indian Community. The water that's being delivered here is Central Arizona project water that's diverted off the Colorado River about 250 miles upstream. That water is conveyed through a concrete-lined irrigation canal that conveys the water here to the community about 20 miles upstream. As the water is delivered through the system, it's delivered here to the MAR 5 site, which is right here behind me, where we are recharging water into the underground aquifer. The intent of the underground aquifer storage is to hold this water, much like a bank account, to be used at a future date.
We are going to keep some of our water up at Lake Mead as insurance against a potential drought. That's water that's going to be there to help and provide a buffer, but also this represents an opportunity to build up this riparian habitat. All of these indigenous plants that are growing now in such a short time.
With this new system, the community will be able to put lands back into production. These are olives that were planted about 18 months ago. Gila River Farms is a tribal enterprise that farms about 15,000 acres on the reservation. The hope is, with additional water availability, is that we're going to see more of these tribal producers come back into production.
My name is Ramona Button, and I'm from the Gila River Indian Community. Right now, we're farming 4,000 acres. My dad took me out when I was 4 years old, showed me a 10-acre garden parcel. And he said, we're going to earn us some income off of this.
We have a crop in the ground, either planting or harvesting every month of the year. This is upland cotton that's grown predominantly for higher thread count. We could not grow it without irrigation. No, it's not. You can't grow any dryland crops here. We don't get enough rainfall. But with the water settlement, we're going to have a more assured water supply. And we're encouraged by the fact that there's more younger people getting involved and more Indian farmers becoming involved like we did. These lands have been irrigated by the Akimara'otam, the Pima people, and we are maintaining their traditions that were laid down many, many years ago with the same water source, that of the Gila.
There's a lot of satisfaction in this project. It's not just a construction project. It's not just an irrigation project. It really is part of a nation-building effort to see the farmers reconnect with the land, to reconnect with their himdak or their cultural aspects of who they are as a people.
This is something that ties us to our past, something that has always sustained us. We were once the breadbasket of this area. We were self-sufficient. We were strong. This is the first step in healing our people. This is an opportunity to really regain what was lost.
Our national parks are American treasures, and we're now going to move around to several different locations in the U.S. National Park system to see how the need for upkeep in the parks is becoming a major problem. Aging park infrastructure, from buildings and historic structures to roads and utility systems, are in serious need of repair. In fact, across the 400-plus sites managed by the National Park Service, there are needed repairs totaling more than $11 billion because of shortfalls in congressional funding. However, as we'll see, some public-private partnerships are helping to tackle the deferred maintenance backlog.
Edge and communication.
Alcatraz, the mystery of Alcatraz. It seems like the island is calling people to it. We have lots of visitors, more than 1.5 million visitors annually. I'm Jason Hagan, historical architect for the National Park Service at the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. It's a really unique park site, an island in the middle of San Francisco Bay. I don't think many people expect to visit gardens or to visit a workshop site where people are doing repairs on historic concrete. Deferred maintenance is something that we deal with on a regular basis.
So we're replacing the old rail and the old post. So when we take off the plywood, all you'll see is the new railing and posts that we made.
See this here, though?
Yeah.
So we want to come in and take this off and just run like a feather edge cut with that grinder here and here.
If we did not have these top-notch materials, this great place like Alcatraz to work on, I mean, it would just be another day on the field, you know? It wouldn't be special. It wouldn't be, you know, as important. To work somewhere where it's highly visited, where it's highly viewed.
What you would have seen 3 months ago before we started this project was a barricaded safety hazard. My name is Tanya Comas. I am the Executive Director of the Concrete Preservation Institute. What we do with the Concrete Preservation Institute through this partnership with the National Park Service and industry is train military veterans. We're also an active duty career skills program for the military, and then we also bring in college students. A partnership like this is able to tackle the things that might not come up on the radar to get funded otherwise. The park gets the project done, the military veterans are getting the training, and the industry is getting a highly trained workforce.
What we did here was actually allow access to every visitor that ever comes to Alcatraz and the possibility of seeing where the famous escape occurred.
All right, so let's talk about who's doing what.
Every project here on the island is unique. There's not a textbook or a one method kind of way to address it. Watching them figure out what's the best path and then executing it has been a really cool part.
I guess that's my biggest takeaway from it, is that I appreciate the work that we've done and the networking that we've done here.
In school, it's a lot of theory, and it's a lot of this is how it's done kind of thing, but we don't actually get to do the work. So being here, we were able to look at old structures, measure it out, draw it out according to what's there.
We're trying to match historic colors and textures and the look and feel of something. You know, if we just cleaned up and walked away from it, that would jump out. It would be obvious to anyone that repair's been done here.
I think it's a great thing what they're doing out here to preserve these national parks. If we're getting to learn this stuff in the process of restoring such a historic place.
We all want to get better at everything we do, and everyone on our team got better at everything they do in life, as well as working on concrete.
Bandelier Visitor Center, enjoy your time.
Most people come here for the archaeology, but we are also a geology park.
So Bandelier is about 33,000 acres, and I like to call the entire park an archaeological district. Most people come to the park to see the cave-8s, climb the ladders, see the kivas, and to learn about the ancestral Pueblo people. I think if people understand the past a little bit more, they're more likely to protect it.
We've got a 9-year-old son, and this is his opportunity to see America. Part of our heritage or something that we want to share with him. We're the Holmes family, and we're from Iowa City.
Partnerships are one of the most important things we have here at Bandelier. Whether it's our shuttle system, whether it's our utility systems, whether it's our preservation of archaeological sites and ruins here.
We have an old infrastructure that's been in since they built the buildings in the 30s. With our deferred maintenance, we're coming up with these projects and having our partners come out and help us out.
Back in 2011, they had Las Conchas fire, which wiped out half of their parking.
So at that point, the Bandelier National Monument was looking at closing the park, and so they extended an offer to us to provide service with them, and without us, they wouldn't have been able to have the park open.
5 years ago, Park Service requested of the county if we could take ownership of the electrical distribution system. The Bandelier rebuild project, it was about 2 miles of underground power lines. They had to replace the power line in the immediate future anyways. And so by designing to Los Alamos County Department of Public Utility Standards, it allowed the Park Service to get out of the electric utility business.
It's exciting for an organization like Rocky Mountain Youth Corps or one of the hundreds of other youth corps around the country to play a role in restoring parks and something that's needed to address this $11 billion problem. Some of the structures that the park is there to protect are in need of some minor maintenance to preserve them for future generations.
We're not here to recreate and make new what you see here. We're here to preserve the existing structure. During the summertime when we work here, the kids actually do a hands-on experience in preserving and stabilizing the walls. Culturally, that's important because it's descendants of the people who inhabited this area doing the work. Spiritually, it means a lot more.
So from my perspective, the future of the National Park Service is our partnerships. And again, finding those partnerships where everybody gets something out of it.
On three, 1, 2, 3.
During the American Revolutionary War, the Continental Army, led by General George Washington, camped here in the winter of 1777. In 2016, about 2.4 million people from all over the world came to Valley Forge to learn this compelling chapter of American history. The National Park Service receives an appropriation from Congress to operate, but those funds aren't always adequate to maintain all the assets that we have. So we enter into public-private partnerships like the one at the Montessori School and to, among other things, help with deferred maintenance of these buildings.
All right, so you're going to write the word happy lamb. You too, Olivia.
A Montessori school is a more independent learning. Teaching a child to be independent, to become curious, is really the way to go. I'm Jill Gutteridge, and I'm the director of the Montessori Children's House of Valley Forge. In 2005, and that's when we began the process of looking for a home. The park had several properties, including this one, that needed to be renovated. So we approached the park and said to them, you know, would you be interested in having us go into that building, renovate it in exchange for a long-term lease? We were the guinea pig, I believe. I think we were the first private school in a national park in the country. We knew that it was going to take a long time to go through all the various stages of government to get the approval, but I really think it's worth it.
Got to make a left into that classroom there.
This one?
Yep.
We had 3 daughters go through the school. The school was located in a rented facility where the lease came up. We didn't know if we could raise the money. We didn't know if we could execute on a lease with the Park Service. We weren't sure, but we said, what the heck, let's try.
They have access to the park rangers. The park rangers come on a regular basis. They talk with the kids about the park, and they talk about what lives here and what grows here. It seems like it's a win-win. The park has the school to help out, and the school has the park, which is a selling point, and the kids got like a little taste of history up there.
These partnerships are a great way to breathe life into park assets and to involve the community in park stewardship.
Government budgets are very tight, and there's a lot of good community-based private entities just like this that could make an eyesore into something really, truly golden.
Along America's ocean coastlines, overfishing has caused some serious declines in fish populations. But on the Gulf Coast in Texas, professional fishermen running charter boats have found innovative ways to give the public more opportunities to fish in a way that preserves the resource for future generations. We sent our crew to Galveston to see how it's done.
This is new technology. This is a CLS America tablet that Bluetooths to the vessel monitoring system, the satellite system that the federal government uses to track the vessel. I'm Captain Scott Hickman, a 30-year professional fisherman here in Galveston, Texas. I do both charters and commercial fishing trips. Galveston is a unique place. It was the richest city in the United States before the Great Storm in 1900. It took years to come back. It's basically become Houston's playground now. It's home to the largest commercial fishing fleet west of the Mississippi River. We've got Tom and Marty, our deckhand hunter, the only female party boat captain in the Gulf of Mexico's son. We got my friend Robert Jones.
We're technically on a commercial fishing trip called the Catch Share Experience. And it's a really innovative hybrid. Recreational anglers get the opportunity to come out and catch the fish themselves that then go back to the fish market, and they can buy the fish directly from the fish market or not. It's the ultimate sea-to-table experience.
Yeah, that's a nice snapper right there.
You got one yet, Justin? Man, you keep talking about painting my boat yellow and taking people to school. I see somebody else caught the first fish, Justin. Perfect size. Here in the Gulf, we've got 3 stakeholders that fish for these reef fish, especially red snappers, the most popular species. We have the commercial fishery, which provides fish to the American consumer. They have 51% of the yearly allocation of snapper. We have the charter for hire sector, which takes the American that wants to come on vacation and get on a boat and go catch a fish recreationally. And then we have the private recreational sector, which is folks that have their own boats that live on the coast that go out and catch their own fish on their own private boat.
Red snapper were overfished for more than 50 years, and we're on the brink of collapse just a decade ago.
There's only so many fish out there. There's only so many fish we can take out to sustain the population. I hate to say it, but I was part of the problem. I was one of the people out there throwing back dead fish all day long, trying to get so many big ones.
This is a undersized red snapper. We're gonna go ahead and throw him back so he can get bigger, and we'll hopefully catch him at some other time.
In the old commercial system, and what we call a derby system, you're creating a race to fish where they're incentivized to go out and catch as much as they can, as fast as they can, because they're trying to compete with the other guy. And people go in and can wipe out a small reef in a 10-day season instead of spreading their effort out over the year.
Who's driving the bus? I got tired of wasting a resource, and that's what the status quo old system that we had did. So catch share programs are where the allocation of fish is divided up amongst groups of people, individuals, or it could be communities. It's market-based, it's capitalistic, but it's got a huge conservation benefits.
Come on, Snappy.
They tried it first in red snapper. Pull up on that jig a little bit. And within 5 years, 6 years, they were seeing huge increases in fish all over the Gulf. I saw it as a charter boat captain. Justin is not riding in the bus anymore, he's driving it.
Yeah, I already have 4.
I kept telling myself, there's got to be a way that I can participate in this.
I got it. I got this.
I built basically a hybrid.
Good job,
Justin. So I took a commercial catch share permit and quota and put it on my once former charter boat and started taking people out for eco tours, eco experiences to learn about the system and go out and harvest these fish.
A shark ate half my fish. This is maybe my second saltwater trip ever. It sounds like a really amazing system, and this experience in particular has been really neat because we're fishing under, I guess, his commercial license, and so that we are contributing to the commercial fishing, but then I get the experience of getting to catch all these fish, which is so fun.
Nice work.
Two, right here, right by.
I pay them with a good time and an education on that there's a different way to manage this fishery.
People are going to be in restaurants tonight eating fish that we caught here today. Plus, we get to take a bunch of great fish home. It's the perfect fishing experience.
We did the hail out this morning where we told the government that we were going out to participate in this program. Now they know that, so they're expecting me to hail in at some point. If they want to check me to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's part of the accountability measures in this program. We'll probably have right at about 300 pounds of snapper on the boat today.
There are captains across the Gulf now adopting a similar model because they've seen how Captain Hickman's been successful in educating the American public while making a profit and being 100% sustainable. All right, you want to point the fish?
Okay, yeah.
The underlying greatest thing about it is we've got a young man on the boat today that's 11 years old that wants to be a fisherman. When he grows up, he'll be a fifth-generation operator in his family fishing business. Every fish has got to get weighed. We go upstairs, get on the government website before they can start cleaning anything, check those fish out of my fish account.
How many pounds?
81 pounds. So those fish have now been deducted from the annual quota, the whole Gulf-wide quota. And they know up to date when those fish are being landed. So there's zero risk of the fishery being overfished.
I caught this fish. Now I get to buy it.
It's pretty awesome seeing your own fish come from right on the boat to the cutting board into this cooler. Wow, as fresh as it gets.
Knowing that we're going to leave it off better than we found this fishery is a great legacy that we can leave this next generation. There's not a lot of times that we get that opportunity in this country anymore to leave things off better than we found it, and we're doing that.
That's all for now, and thanks for joining us for this season of This American Land. We'll continue our search for great conservation stories, and we'll see you next time.
For more information about this program, visit thisamericanland.org and like us on Facebook.